When Professor Jonathan Carapetis began researching rheumatic heart disease more than 3 decades ago, it was a fairly unknown condition to most Australians. Although cases occurred in remote Australia and low-income countries, no one knew just how many people were affected.
For the first time, we documented the true burden in Australia and then the true burden globally. We challenged some of the paradigms around what caused this disease, particularly rheumatic fever. Classically, it was thought to be caused only by a throat infection with the strep A bug, and we really have documented that it's not just the throat infections, it's also skin infections. By documenting that, it has led to significant changes to how we try and control the disease.
Professor Carapetis is now a leader in an international consortium to develop the first ever vaccine against strep A. But he says his work is far from complete. Rheumatic heart disease is the most commonly acquired heart disease for people under 25. And while it's now very rare in most high-income countries, it continues to be rife in many of Australia's remote First Nations communities.
They're exposed to so much infection, including the strep A bug that causes rheumatic fever, and that's related to overcrowded housing. It's related to inadequate access to the sort of infrastructure like basic washing facilities and hygiene facilities that the rest of us have. Rheumatic heart disease is the emblematic condition of the gap that we're trying to close.
Professor Carapetis says that closing that gap starts with bringing Indigenous voices to the forefront of research. He says partnering with First Nations communities to steer the direction of research can lead to far more meaningful outcomes.
All of our projects now in rheumatic fever and strep infections that involve Aboriginal communities have Aboriginal investigators. They have an Aboriginal governance committee that has right of veto over all aspects of the project.
Professor Carapetis says he's always been driven by a passion to make a difference.
I became a doctor loving the idea that I could deal with a child and a family and hopefully have an impact on them. I then became a researcher knowing that if I did that well, then what I did would have an impact on many, many families. And then I became a research leader to amplify that even more.
For his impactful research and scientific leadership, Professor Carapetis has now been elected a Fellow of the Australian Academy of Science.